Okay, so Eric, we're here at O'Connell Electric, and what we'd love to hear from you is just your observations with your trucks prior to using the Cerion GO2 diesel fuel optimizer, and then kind of what you and you know the guys working on the trucks experienced once GO2 was put into these trucks.
Yeah. When we first started out with these trucks, we had a lot of excessive smoke after they started to run, after they ran for usually about a week and a half or so of idle time, because that's pretty much all we have is idle time on these trucks. They're just running a PTO. So they never get run up and down the road, which was all the requirements we were looking for anything to go through a regeneration on its own with the truck. So it started to smoke, and it would smoke to the point where you couldn't stand to be within 50 feet of the truck. Wow. I mean, it smelled so bad, your eyes would water.
Was that a result of the DPF clogging?
Yes.
This is specifically on the Freightliner? Or
on the Fords.
On the
Ford
On the F-750s with a C7
C7
Caterpillar in it, 250 horse. So we saw no improvement whatsoever with CAT's reprogramming of the ECM on there to try and enhance the way the regenerations worked on it. So then we met Jack. Jack said he'd like to try the GO2 product on us, and we started using that. And it's taken some time for it to burn in and get to actually working.
How much time about would you say?
Well, I would say we really didn't see anything different for probably 40 to 60 hours in that range, somewhere in there, of actual run time on the truck, engine hours on the truck. Before we started to notice a difference, and then obviously I started getting less complaints about the truck smelling as bad, smoking as bad, as often.
Eric, what's it like to go out and, you had to go out and do a manual regeneration on them, right?
Oh yeah,
I was smoking.
I almost scheduled it to a 2-week basis. I would go out every 2 weeks and do a manual regen on the motor, because it would. We got to the point after 2 weeks the truck wouldn't run. It would actually shut down and only sit in idle alongside the road.
So after that initial 40 to 50 hours of using the product in these Fords, how many more hours from that point on? I mean, how many total hours of those trucks being done?
I mean, I've gone to where I've only done one regen on 2 of the 3 trucks since we started.
That's over the course.
And that was within the first
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 to 3 weeks probably, some of it, and I haven't done one since.
About 2 months.
And so they've had a few hours, not a ton of hours put on.
So can you just quickly quantify, so prior to dosing those trucks, you were being forced to manually regenerate those trucks on average?
Probably 40 hours.
Every 40 hours, and now you're out to...
Oh, we're out to at least 80, maybe 100.
And you haven't had a regen.
Yeah.
So we're at least seeing...
And I haven't seen the end of it. Maybe it'll go a little bit more now if we get the trucks back working. But I haven't had to regen them since.
So we could kind of say, based on this one test, that you've seen like at least a 100% increase, 40 to 80, without having to regen, because what you're observing is the...
And I am not seeing any of the smoke right now on those trucks. We can go out and start those trucks right now, and I don't believe they're going to smoke.
The question for your reference, how much time savings has that been for you in an average week? Because you're not having to deal
anywhere from 2 to 10 to 15 hours. Depends if I got to drive to Buffalo, Niagara Falls to do the regen on the truck, It's 2 hours out, 2 hours back, plus an hour and a half there, or whatever it may take me. So there's 5 hours in one day.
One of those problem Fords over a year, what does that cost you in unnecessary maintenance because of this sitting issue, the DPFs and EPFs?
I would say just in hours wise, we're probably looking at 20 to 30 hours, maybe 40 hours if it started causing a problem. I mean, who knows, unforeseen things. It could plug a DPF to the point where it screws it up. And then now it's costing us a couple grand to get either replace a DPF or several $100s to get it cooked out, So the possibilities are endless as far as that's concerned.
Based on what you've seen and talking about these costs and these savings across the board for what the product does with this emissions equipment and keeping the engines cleaner, I mean, from your perspective, do you think that the product's worth using just for those benefits?
Yeah, definitely.